Sereena Elnor, your host for Smart Girls Chat. Join the Essential Woman Foundation group. You're more than welcome, and I'm looking forward to seeing you. Welcome to today's Smart Girl Chat. We will be speaking to Amina Michelle. Hey girl!
How are you?
Oh,
can you hear me?
Fine. Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you fine.
Window, hang on.
Oh, okay.
Didn't realise it was so loud until I started.
What,
the window?
What? Oh, okay. Bless you. No, it's so overwhelming. You have to get the environment right and everything like that. So anyone who's watching, anyone who's watching, can you press like, because that brings up the algorithms and that lets people know that we're online, so they can join us today. And I hope everyone's had. Yeah, I look at all those hearts and those likes. I love it. I love it. So, how are you anyway? How's Happy New Year, Amina?
Happy New Year. Oh, do you know what? It's been really, really great. I had a really, really brilliant 2018, and the excitement from my 2018 is really, really making me really, I don't know, I'm so excited for 2019. Hi, Gillian. I'm so excited for 2019. I think just the roll on is brilliant. So meeting new people like yourself, Sereena, and making connections and building my business. Do you know what? Things are looking up, and I think we have to be intentional about that. So yeah, I'm really good.
Yeah, I've had an awesome 2018. A lot of people have said they had a lot of they went through a lot. I think I went through a lot in 2018, but at the same time, it made me realize that the tools that I have, applied to my life have made things easier, helped me to cope better with change, because change is always going to happen. So I'm looking forward to 2019, so that, I can continue to use my tools and strategies to cope with life. And it's happening.
Of course.
So, again, thank you.
Hang on a minute, 1 second. Good night.
No. Hey, honey.
Okay, good night. Take it. No, these are my little cherubs. No, you need to go upstairs. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2.
I've got lip balm on.
I have got lip balm on. But I'm live, babes. All right, good night. I love you.
Bye.
Good night. Love yous. Close the door. It's all right. Go. See ya.
They're just lovers, they're attached to us, aren't they? So thank you again to everyone for watching and tuning into this Smart Girls Chat with Amina Michelle and Sereena Elnor. We're going to be talking about the struggles with the idea of pregnancy, and some, the extremes. Like, some people are like over the moon happy, some people are like come see, come sa, and some people are like nah, no way. And it's nice to talk to people who are real about saying no. It's real, and actually coming through that, and ending up being it being one of the most precious things that have ever happened to them. Because when we get pregnant, it's not always a wonderful experience, and sometimes we're just not realistic about that. So myself and Amina will be speaking about being devastated about being pregnant. Yeah, that's what we'll be talking about. Actually. So
the truth.
Isn't it? So, Amina, tell us about yourself. Like, who are you, what you do now, and then we'll just go into a candid conversation about pregnancy.
Most definitely. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to close the door. 1 second.
Yes. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Zainab. You know, it doesn't really come up on my phone that much, like who's there, because I've
Okay.
heard you say hello to Gillian and I can't see Gillian. So hi,
I
Gillian.
just saw her send likes and loves. I saw her hearts and likes just then, just in the little bubbles. And I saw Catriona in the bubbles. So I can't actually see them here, but yeah, I saw the likes and loves. So yes, send
Okay.
likes, send love so we know that you're there.
Yeah.
So I'm Amina Michelle,
Yeah.
and I am a balance and success coach to busy business moms. I do that because I am a mother myself, and I started a business when I had my daughters very young because I felt like I needed to do something. In that space, I was exposed to self-development, which I'd not been exposed to before, and that spiraled me into a journey of getting to know myself and really working out my shit. So that brought me to this point where I realized we do have issues. Us as women do have concerns, and I think sometimes they're brushed over. So my line of work and what I do and why I find it important is that I allow a woman to feel what she's feeling, but also help her get clarity and help her create the steps that she needs to move from where she is to where she wants to be. So that's what
Mm-hmm.
I do in a
Mm-hmm.
nutshell. And I've got a free community called Winning Women. And the reason why I created that space, and I've had physical events based in Birmingham around that, because I feel like as women, we need to celebrate each other. There needs to be a space where we say, well done, sister or woman, or we can do this together. There's enough space at the top for everyone. So we all should be doing something amazing, and we all should have built-in cheerleaders with the women that stand beside us.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell us how it began. It began, I mean, from the beginning to actually birthing this wonderful project.
Okay, so I worked in retail. I did that alongside at uni. I went to uni because I thought that was what you're supposed to do. So I was doing a degree and also had a part-time job. I went to uni from home, so I lived at home, and it was great. My mom cooked really good dinners, so it didn't make sense to leave. And did uni, got a 2-2. So as far as I'm concerned, you passed. But
Yeah,
then
of
I
course.
stayed part-time. Stayed part-time, met my husband, my now husband, well, before that, but then we ended up getting pregnant. I was devastated,
Same.
absolutely devastated. It was the worst thing that could have happened, to be honest. And I think in retrospect, looking at it now, it's because I'd never planned to have children. It wasn't part of my plan. I'd seen my mom raise me as a single parent. I'd seen my auntie as a single parent. I'd seen my other auntie not have kids. I saw my nan as a single parent. I was like, oh no, I don't want to do this. Probably subconsciously, I don't think I had the conversation with myself, but just deep down, I was like, nope, that's not how life is going to look like for me. So having children seemed like that was the only way it should happen. So it seemed like, no, that wasn't for me. I had her and was able to shop that depression away. So at the time, I worked in retail at Selfridges. They do a really good discount. So I got a lot of stuff that I probably didn't need, and shopped that one away, went back to work, and actually felt a little bit like I maybe didn't need to go back to work. Maybe I'd made a connection with my daughter, and I was like, oh my God, maybe I shouldn't go back. And then I had a load of feelings of feeling guilty for wanting to stay home, guilty for wanting to go to work because I had my child, guilty because I thought I wasn't doing a good job, guilty because I wasn't being myself, guilty because I'd changed so much. And because I was dealing with all of these feelings, it just feelings on top of feelings on top of feelings, that it just spiraled me down into a depression that I actually couldn't handle myself. But then lo and behold, I got pregnant again. And I tell people an accident can happen twice. So they think, oh, it happened once, you protect yourself the next time, or whatever it is they say you do the next time. I got pregnant the second time, and actually that was worse, because when I got pregnant that time, at 5 months pregnant, I was made redundant from my new job from L'Oreal. I worked for L'Oreal at that time as a manager, Just got the job, really excited about it. Thought, okay, do you know, I'm now making something of myself, and now I can feel like I'm worthy of my success. And yeah, lost it, and in my mind, lost it. So I was like, I don't know where I was or who I was. I feel like I was a crazy woman, and anybody that came on the path was about to feel it. So that was a difficult pregnancy, and I had no job to shop that one away. So it meant that I had to be in my own feelings, which then spiraled me down into suicidal thoughts. I actually planned how I was going to go. I planned how it was going to be, and I knew why I was doing it. It wasn't for me. It was so that the kids was better off because I wasn't good enough, and life was better off because I wasn't good enough, and everyone will be happier if I'm not here because actually I've got nothing to bring to the plate. And there was a part of my personality that's always been there, and I've always wanted to be in control of things, and obviously at this point I don't feel like I'm in control. And just that little part of me said, so if you go, what's going to happen to the girls? And in my mind I was like, I don't know what's going to happen to them, but they are better off without me. And it's like, well, if you go, how can you make sure that nothing's going to happen to them? And in that moment where that control freak tendency of my personality came out, I literally had no choice but to stay. So literally in that moment, I couldn't go anywhere, because then I would feel guilty again about how the children are going to manage and what are they going to do and who's going to do what to them and how are they going to be spoken to. Are they going to go through the same problems I've gone through? Are they going to have the same struggles? And, you know, the list goes on. So at that point, I had embarked on a business with network marketing. I had been exposed to the personal development side of the business. And I'd also been exposed to some different people that spoke positively to me, different people that were nice to me. And I was like, why are you being nice? And why are you being positive? I found it a bit strange because I'd come from a very negative space. So I delved a little deeper into that because I thought, okay, now I need a game plan. And I don't think I said that to myself. I just needed to think differently for the children if I was going to stay. And I started reading. I started exposing myself to different environments, networking events, business events, success events, and found that this environment made me feel good. Made me feel different. It took me out of my norm, and I thought something in this is right for me. So I continued to do. I do mobile stylist. So I'm a mobile stylist, and I do natural hairstyles and stuff. So I started to build that up a little bit. Started to feel more confident and tell me I can do this, and that was great. Then I started to build my network marketing business and feel better about myself, but actually I found it difficult to coach other people because I thought I was pretending. So what came about was an opportunity to have a coach, and this coach I'd watched build her success and build her business, and I was like, wow, she's got credibility. Like I can see that she's actually doing what she's talking about. And I've literally in November completed a 12-month coaching program.
Awesome.
And it's
congratulations.
Pardon?
Congratulations.
Thank you. I feel amazing. I think the biggest parts of that were that I actually invested in myself. I actually took a chance on me instead of paying up for the kid, give it to somebody else. And I'm telling you, there was a part of me that was terrified of that, terrified of the fact that, but you wasting money, or you're not worth that. And those conversations still had a space in my head. So one of the things I continued to do, one, was work closely with my coach and the women in my coaching program. So Gillian, who sent a light, she was one of my sisters in that environment. And it's amazing to be around good people. And I also continued to read. So with every question I've had, I know there's a book with an answer. And Ice Cube said it on a Steve Harvey show. He said, the best advice he gave was, if someone is where you want to be, find out what they did to get there. And that can be done by reading someone's biography. That could be done by reading someone's book and that's what I've been doing. And literally I got an email from Audible to say I'd read 73 books in 2018. I didn't realize. I thought I'd read 40. Well, I thought I'd read 40.
That's so
73.
awesome. A lot of people don't read these days. I mean, even like I've got friends and associates who call me and I'm like, you need to read, you need to read, you need to read. A lot of people watch YouTube. I love YouTube, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, you know, you need that intricate detail, that analysis to work out the strategy and then apply it to self, you know. But also you spoke about guilt, and it's interesting how the dynamics of how you didn't allow the guilt to stop you. You allowed the guilt to be a motivator. So, for example, a lot of the time when people are going through stress in their life, they feel guilt and then they stay in that space. And then it's like, even as a coach, you will have to coach them to drop the guilt, you know, and heal from the guilt. Whereas for you, the guilt was actually a motivator. The fact that you were feeling the guilt, it actually was a catalyst to, you know, oh, I don't want to feel this. I don't want to feel this. I don't like this. I don't want this. So I'm going to have to,
you know what?
I'm going to change.
I don't want to make it sound like I'm a superwoman. So sorry for jumping in, but actually the guilt wasn't a motivator. It was me getting new information. And once I got new information, I started to believe something different, which took place of the feeling of guilt. So I can't say to you that one day I said, oh, you know, I can't feel guilty about that. That's why the reading for me was so important, because I would needed to expose myself to a different idea, a different way of thinking, a different way of analyzing things. Why was I feeling this guilt? What was it really connected to? And I had to get that understanding. And I agree with what you're saying about getting into a book and doing that self-analysis. That's exactly what I did. Yeah. And this is why Audible has been amazing for me, because that was my way of being able to read all those books without having to sit down with a physical book, which one of my goals this year is actually, there's some physical books I actually do need to read. So I do feel the resistance as well. I do find it hard to sometimes fit it in, but I'm having to plan that in and be intentional about when that needs to happen, and actually know why it needs to happen as well. So I would suggest to anybody to get onto Audible. Your first book is absolutely free. So actually it's a free way to get involved. And I was just talking to a friend today, and you can start with anything. I've read Kevin Hart's book. I've read Steve Harvey's book. I've read Sarah Jakes Roberts. I love a book by Tony Robbins called Awaken the Giant Within, and that is a book I would say anyone should start the year with. So you know, you can start with anything. There are gems in there.
Yeah, you know, somebody's just wants to join the group, but I can't even get them to join. Because if I take it off, then I can't, it's gonna end the call. Never mind, people have to join next time. You know, if anyone's watching, if you're sharing the group with anybody, share it, you know, prompt them to add themselves, because I won't be able to add them whilst I'm on the actual chat.
No problem.
It won't work. So I do apologize to anyone.
Right, they've got a really good replay to catch up on.
Well, there you go. That's true.
There you go.
There you go. That's true. No, so, you know, even for myself, when I got pregnant with my son, I found it really, really hard. My fear was lack of support, because and I think that was obvious for me, because I didn't have support with other things in my life from my family. So I was just like, oh my God, they're really not going to support me with this one. And to be honest, no, they didn't support me with it. However, I had to kind of fall into that depression, as you call it, to then decide how I'm going to support myself. And what I found was that there were people waiting to support me. So like my friends, and even organizations and things like that, that were there to support me. But because I was so kind of headstrong about, oh, well, it has to be your family, blah, 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 blah. You know, also you're protective as a mother as well. So you think that your family are the ones that are going to look after your children the best. So you prefer your sister to look after your child more so than your friend, for example, you know, because you feel like, because that's auntie, they've got this natural instinct to take care of the child better. And maybe because you're more distant from your friend, then they will look after your child less. I mean, that's what I thought, and it just didn't go like that. So I think sometimes, like, you know, if people do, anyone who is planning to conceive, or people, if somebody who is pregnant at the moment is having, you know, fearful thoughts, if support is an issue for you, you know, be realistic about who your support is, so then you can eliminate that idea that you're not going to get the support. Look to the people who do want to help and support you.
And I agree with that. I agree with that, Sereena, because I thought exactly the same thing. I had the exact same feeling. I had the exact same hook to, or attachment to, the fact that my family had to support me, or it had to be their dad that supported me, or it had to be this person. And actually there was loads of people waiting in the wings to support me, and I felt bad for accepting that help. But actually I've got a really good core network of people that you wouldn't think, oh, that's who supports you. Like, for example, my auntie, amazing. She doesn't drive. She works full time. She lives in Coventry, and she's not the closest person, but she's the biggest support for me. Biggest, the best and biggest support for me. And I couldn't have done it without her. When I had my second daughter, she took a day off work every week for about a year to support me. She came to my house on the train. She trained it to my house, and I used to feel guilty about it. But when I got to the point where actually I need her, I need her to be here, I had to say, yes, Auntie, I need you here. And she was just here, no questions asked. She's never brought it up to me. She's never made me feel guilty about it. She's never made me think I've got to pay her back. She's always done that from the deepest depth of her heart. And there's been other people that have done same or similar things for me. And it's not the person you think it's going to be, is it?
No, it's never the people that you think it's going to be. I remember actually phoning the social services one day.
Wow.
I did. I sat down. I was like, oh, because my son suffered with chronic asthma. So everything that I wanted to do to support us as a single parent home was sabotaged by the fact that he had asthma. I remember needing to leave work early. Sometimes I was working, and the nursery, I couldn't get from work to the nursery by 5:30. Well, by 6 o'clock, sorry. And I asked my manager at work, can I leave at 5? So that gives me an hour to get there because of the traffic and stuff. And she literally refused to allow me to just leave at 5. And I mean, it was really, really bad. And the nursery manager was really nice. She was like, don't worry about it. I was only like 10 minutes late, but it was bad because everybody was gone. You know, everyone was gone and my kid was still there. So that was a factor. And then also his asthma. I had to take lots of time off work. So I remember sitting there one day saying, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Because I actually got the sack from that job because of the time that I had to have off to go to hospital and stay in hospital with him sometimes because of his asthma. And I remember sitting there going, what am I going to do? So obviously I reached out to family and whatever, and it was almost like I was scrutinized, like, oh, you know, you chose to get pregnant, this is what you have to do. You have to sacrifice your life when you've got a child, etc., etc., etc. And I just refused to believe that. So then I was like, well, what do I do? So I phoned the social services. I remember bawling my eyes out and snot and everything. And I phoned up and the lady was like, okay, so talk to me, what's up? And I was explaining to her what was going on. She was like, you just need some support. You just need some support. So occasionally when you can't get to the school or the nursery on time, who can you phone to say, can you go and grab him or whatever? I says, no one. And I was honest to her and I says, you know, without judgment to my family, no one. I didn't have no one. And she was like, are you on drugs? And I was like, no. She was like, are you an alcoholic? I was like, no. She taught me through my whole, like, how I am as a person, etc. She said, there's absolutely nothing wrong with you. You just lack support. She was like, okay, so you can't make money by going to work. You need to sit down and think about what you're going to do. And I spent about 3 hours on the phone with this woman. She must have been from God. She was an absolute angel. And I literally, going to the end of the call, I went, I need to have my own business because that way I can manage everything. And she went, Sereena, I believe you can do that. I said, you think
that's amazing.
She was like, I believe you can do that. And that's, lo and behold, I've never worked for someone again. And if I have worked for someone, it's been my choice,
On your terms.
on my terms. You know, I'm not saying it's easy. However, I'm a businesswoman first and foremost. So that depressive time that I went through, you know, feeling like rejecting motherhood, basically, actually was the catalyst to make me who I am today. You know, so I give thanks for my baby.
And you know what? I kind of had the same epiphany when I lost the job. I remember thinking to myself, I'm not having anyone fire me again. No one's going to get the chance to have my fate in their hands. I mean, and what I will say, that was what, my daughter's 5 now. So in that time, it's been an amazing journey. Hard, really challenging. I used to think, oh, if you work for yourself, it just happens and clients just turn up and they pay, and then you can sweep off to dinner and have lunch. And I used to have this really airy fairy idea of what entrepreneurship was, and I thought, yes, and you can spend all day on social media and do lots of lives, and you know, as you could do all of these things, and it just happens. I don't want to be too rigid. And boy, did I get a reality check when I realized that all the successful people actually planned it. It's like, you what? They planned it? How did they do that? And that spurred up my first reading experience. And a mentor of mine, she's never met me, but I listen to her all the time, is a woman called Terry Saville Foy. I recommend any of her books. Imagine Big, Dream It, Pin It, Live It. Well, so she's got loads, and I recommend any of her books. And she has talked me through, sometimes got me to understand some things. I'm not someone that walks with the crowd. I'm not someone that just does it because everyone else is doing it. It might be a good thing, and I'm just not easily influenced like that. So I had to get more understanding, and this is where the reading came in as a benefit to me. I had to understand why these things worked. I had to understand how they could work for me. I'm not Tony Robbins. I'm not Michelle Stonehill, who is my coach, and I love her to pieces. I'm not Gillian Devine, and she's amazing. She's absolutely epic. And I'm not all of these people, but how do I be me? And importantly, Terry, I'm not Terry Saville Foy, you know. She's amazing too, but through her book, she's told me I can. The same way that that social worker told you can. She told me I can, and I've had Gillian and Michelle tell me these things to me, and I was like, do they know they're talking to me? Like, do they know they're talking to the broken person that I am? Do they know? And I remember a quote saying, even a broken crayon can color. And also someone said, someone doesn't need to speak to who you were, people will speak to who you're going to be. And I was like, wow, these people are speaking to who I'm going to be, and I can still make an impact even though I'm broken, because my color hasn't changed, my coloring color hasn't changed. I can still make an impact, because I thought my brokenness meant that I wasn't valuable, and I was useless. And that's what reading has done for me, getting that information and understanding that my brokenness is what some people need so they can feel like they're not.
Hi, Fia. You okay,
hey,
honey?
Fia, ma'am. So, you know, I really, really do push get a coach. And the women I work with, I mean, I tell you, I work with a passion. Like, I love what I do, just because I've found a freedom in a way that I never imagined I could ever find. But I knew I had to have taken some steps in unfamiliar ground for me to have the life I've got right now. So I would say to anyone, my advice is get a coach, whoever that coach is. Get a coach, get someone to be accountable to, get someone who's where you need to be or want to be, and also read a book. And
what do you I was just thinking about being triggered back to that space, you know. How do you get triggered? Like, Probably not
Yeah.
now, or is it? Did
Listen,
that
all the
happen?
time. All the time, you are still who you are. You've still been through all the experiences you've been through. You still had the hurts that you've had. But my way now is anything I've been through is now content. And it may sound really cardboard,
Yeah, I
but
get you.
when we spoke, I was like, if I can't use what I've been through to help someone else feel free, then it's a wasted experience. So I'm not denying I've been through anything. I can't deny that I've been through this or been through that. But I'm not giving the enemy or my naysayers or the devil or whoever you want to call it power over the fact that I've been through something. I know that this can be used. And I had a client call today, and she was on the phone going, "Oh my gosh, you're really listening to me. I think you really understand where I'm coming from." And I said, "I do. What you're going through, I've been through something similar. And through my experience, I want to help you. And I'm not telling you, you do this. I'm saying, this is what I've done. This is how I've got my freedom in this area. And I can help you get yours." And she was like, "Yes, I want to work with you. Yes, I want to work with you." And I've still given her some time to think about it because, you know, my coaching isn't free. And I would love to do it for free. But I feel like money is the currency of commitment. And I think if somebody puts their money where their mouth is, like I did with my coach, like I said, I've just finished 12 months. And I'm telling you, when I first started, I felt sick at the amount of money I was spending. I felt sick. I was like, "Oh my God, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do this?" And I'm telling you, I had little dinners. I had this, I had little this, little that. And it just gave me a chance to see that actually I could make it work. I could make it work. All I've got is excuses. I can have a bag of excuses, or I can have some results. Excuses or results. Excuses brought me here. Results can bring me somewhere else.
Exactly. So Fia has said she's realized that she has a problem. She has a problem with asking for help.
Do you know what we all do? You're not different to any of us. We all have a problem with asking for help. I think it's how we see asking for help as. Growing up, you saw the way our parents spoke, and if I talk from a Caribbean background,
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Caribbean background of. But that came back from even further back, the Windrush, when we came over here, we couldn't ask anyone for help. And actually, in that time, there was a lot of help being given. They lived in houses together and helped each other. And I just spoke to my granddad, another granddad, the girl's great granddad, my daughter's great granddad, and he was talking about his journey over here, and he remembers living in a house with all these people, and there was just arguments over the kitchen. All the women would argue over the kitchen because everyone's trying to cook their meal, and he just said, "You know what, I need to buy my own house." And I feel like there's this whole, we're not willing to just help without there being a consequence. And it's gotten to the place right now where we are right here, right now, thinking if someone needs help, they must be on their face.
Yeah, it's
something must be wrong with them.
Yeah.
Something must be wrong with them. It must be really bad. Must have had something wrong with them. It must have gone from must be bad. Wonder what she's going through. And I think we've come from that environment, and it doesn't always have to be that case.
No,
and even in
that particular time, does that particular thing that they need help and support with, doesn't mean they're a failure.
But I said to someone, I said to the woman I was talking to today, I said, what you knew brought you here to this place, and that's amazing. We arrived, we managed to survive here. But if we want more, and if we want to go further, we need more fuel in the tank. Now, we can't use the old fuel we had in the car before because it's already dead and gone. It's burned out. There's nothing you can do with that. We need new fuel. So we need to look for new things that are going to fuel us in a way that we want to be fueled. And I feel like we have to get clear about where the destination is. So if I'm still using the car as the analogy, one, you need petrol to get where you need to go to, but you also need this postcode to put in the sat nav. And a lot of us have not generated our own personal postcode to put in the sat nav of life to know where we're supposed to be going. And the first part of my program is getting really clear, asking really hard, not even hard questions, just clear questions, so you can answer them clearly for yourself. And it's taken me about 2 weeks to review my 2018, to get really clear about what I want, and to set my goals. And I'm still doing it. So people think, oh, because it doesn't happen in 10 minutes or an hour that, oh, this is too hard. It is hard. We're talking about our lives here. I used to think, oh, this thing should just happen. And it doesn't.
No.
But we spend more time planning a holiday than we do planning our lives.
Fia, I just want to say, you know, look at your cognition around help. I mean, just write down what you're saying about help, you know, positive and negative. However, you will have to examine the negative in intricate detail. So write it down. What am I saying about help? Is it saying that I'm a failure? Is it saying that I'm a loser? What is it saying about you? And then you have the power to create a new cognition and write down the cognition that you would like to have around help. And then spend about 21 days. I always say 21 days because it takes 21 days to shift a habit, you know, not permanently, but it puts you in a space of goal. It puts you in a space of you have control over that. So take 21 days to actually digest and affirm that new cognition that you have written down, and you'll feel the energy and the power that you have within that. And that's what will be your drive to keep you going. That's what will be your motivation to keep you going. And you will see and feel asking for help in a completely different manner. You know, harness that feminine power, and you'll just be awesome. You know, I asked for help. I didn't get it, but I didn't stop asking for help. I phoned the social services on myself, and they helped me without even intervening in my life.
Yeah. And you know what? But I had a problem asking for help as well. And I just had to get clear about what that was about. So I totally agree. And I literally just posted something in my Winning Women group about what belief do you have or about yourself, which is negative. And then I'm offering a different belief. So I totally hear that. So it's just a new belief. What new belief do you want to believe? And I'm totally with you on that cognitive train of thought there, Sereena.
Yeah, because it's not a stable datum. It's not a stable cognition. If it's negative thought processes are just not stable at all, you know. And then you can give yourself a new temporary cognition, but then once something happens in your reality, to question that, it then shakes that again. So then that's another not stable datum, another not stable condition, cognition. So it's about you literally creating a stable thought process that's lasting, you know, and applying it to self.
But like you said, 21 days, 30 days, you know, giving it time. People think
as long as you can,
change
you know.
Yeah.
Keep it going
Take
for as long as you can, you know.
Yeah,
But
totally.
if you aim for a 21 day, that's the minimum time it takes to create a stable datum. Because what happens is with the mind is you have the short-term memory and a long-term memory, and something has to sit in the short-term memory long enough in order for the brain to know that it now needs to be stored in your long-term memory for it to then become an immediate thought process. So for example, you teach, because we're talking about children, we teach our children their name. We teach them their name. Your name's Princess. Your name's Princess. Your name's Princess. And then one day someone comes along and says, "What's your name?" And then the child's like, "It's Princess." But initially they kind of look at you as the parent to say,
yeah,
you know, but then
is it cool?
Is it cool? Or, you know, something else. We know that we need to eat. That's in our long-term memory, you know?
Yeah.
You like reading books. It's in your long-term memory. So as soon as a thought comes up that you need to know something, it's in your long-term memory to go and analyze and research, and then you access the correct means to achieve that, you know. So
yeah,
it's about studying the mind. It's short-term, long-term, instant. It's easier. So what have you written here, Fia? I feel it already. I asked yesterday for help and didn't feel like I was weak. As you said, I'm not going to stop asking if I need it. Of course, Ma. Like I said, you know, when you ask, the moment you feel that negative experience, look at what you're saying and then just change the cognition. And eventually it will just be completely changed and you'll be on a new level of self-evolution. You know, it'll be something else that you're trying to create a stable datum for to get to where you need to go.
Yes, I agree. And it
That's
says,
so
oh, what's the word? Motivation is a daily thing, like taking a bath. It's not something you could do once and it's done. It's something you do over and over and over again until it becomes a habit.
yeah.
And how this for me has affected my children, because what all these changes that have happened for me, changing the way I think about things, changing my routine, being more positive, being more intentional, has had a real massive knock-on effect with my children. And my daughter turned around to me and said, "Mom, I love you." And I was like, "Okay, why?" And I always ask why now, because it's nice to
Nice to
get
know.
them to explain themselves,
Hmm.
And she said, "Mom, because you're the kind of mom that makes things happen." And I thought, oh,
Yay.
that's amazing. Because one of my quote that I live by, it's not what you say that counts, it's what you do. Because I believe that us as children, you've been a mom, I mean, you've been a child and I've been a child, and we've had parents and we've had people that have let us down or said one thing and done the other. And I just thought, you know what, I need to be a woman of my word. I need to try my best to be a woman of her word, especially when my children are concerned, because then they can see what consistency looks like.
Exactly.
And
Yeah,
then if I model that for them, they can then live that.
exactly. Because it's if especially if they're visual learners as well. And before they
Yeah,
can
fortunately,
acknowledge the rest
aren't
of
they?
their senses, it's all about their eyes. So, people watch people's behavior. I keep saying 80% of your life experience is visual, So with that mindset, with that knowingness, that it's about how you act, and that people see you from your actions, not necessarily from any of your other senses. So when it comes to children,
Yeah,
it's important to know that you have to honor the words and thoughts that you give to yourself and others as though your life depends on it, so that builds up their confidence in you,
definitely.
and builds up your confidence in yourself, because if you can see
Yeah,
that can follow things through for yourself, you won't use anyone else as a motivation. You'll predominantly depend on yourself. And I'm not saying that from an ignorant, arrogant space either. I'm just saying that
no, but
sometimes we very much rely on external happenings for us to
yeah,
achieve, rather than look at how we can be that for ourselves. If you say yeah, exactly, you're a visual learner, exactly. So with that, that you watching things, reading things, watching people, that shows that you might need a coach. If you're a visual learner, you may need to read and look at the steps of how somebody went
yeah,
from one space to the next, then kinesthetic learner isn't that the touch. When someone's a kinesthetic learner, they learn through actually experiencing things. So for example, if you're going to put a light bulb together, you would learn it better by actually doing it. I
yes.
think that's what kinesthetic is. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, well, I'm that one. I'm that one that you just explained. I'm that learner because
yeah.
Fia tried to spell it. I didn't try and spell it. She said that
Yeah,
she spelt it right. Oh, at least you
kinesthetic.
gave it a try, babe. I wouldn't
It's
have.
it's TH and then the TIC. Yeah, kinesthetic. So yeah, that's really, really awesome. Thank you so much for sharing with us today.
That's
Tell
no.
us about what's in the future for Amina.
Wow. Okay, so I'm based in Birmingham. My plan is I've been holding events last year, so I did an event around business, another event around self-love, and my third and final event of 2018 was around parenting, called the Parents Evening, and all of
Wow.
those was hosted by Cyan Bar. So in the new year, I want to do a Women's Day. For Women's International Day, so dates and times and everything will be sent out. But I am going to be hosting a day with some other female business owners, um, around the whole woman. So that will do with business, that will do with self-care, that will do with parenting, that will cover the aspects of the whole woman. So I'm in talks with other women that cover different things than myself to make sure that happens. Also, I have a free community called Winning Women. So over there, I'll be giving free trainings every Friday and a thoughtful Thursday, and every day we'll have a theme. So one, you can share your business in there. So yes, Sereena, come over to us as well.
Yay.
And put your dime in. I would love to hear from you over there. And also I'm a one-to-one. I'm a business coach. I coach women to build their confidence, to be better people to themselves, be better parents. And I've just got so many things happening. So just look out. Follow me at Amina Michelle. I've got Amina Michelle page. So add me, follow me, like, and you'll definitely see what's happening. I'm actually authoring a book this year also.
Hey, can't wait for the book launch.
I'm so excited about that. So yeah, book launch will be in June. So I'll be putting some stuff out soon as to what's going to happen. But you know what? Big things are happening this year. I'm making sure of it. Nothing's going to happen by chance. And if there's anyone out there that I can help to get clear about their goals, that I can help to get through any bouts of guilt, then I'm here for that. It's my passion.
Yeah. No, that's so awesome. And it's so nice to have you. Hi, Sade. Hope you're all right, honey. My little friend. She's like my little sister. Hey, Sade, baby. So is there any advice, any final advice or tips that you want to give to everyone, anyone who's just joined us, feel free to rewatch and join us next week again for another awesome guest. But yeah, is there any more tips and advice that you want to give to people as the final one?
Definitely. My first piece of advice is get a coach. And if you can't get a coach, find a coach in a book. And if you don't want to read, get Audible and let them read to you. That has been revolutionary for me. I do love reading. It's something I did enjoy doing. But if there's anything you want to do and you feel like you want to make the changes, but you want something that's affordable, or you want something that's smaller in a price, for example, because I know coaching programs can be quite pricey, but I would definitely say it's a brilliant investment. But if you want to start off, then I would definitely say get reading. It's valuable to you and it's valuable to anyone. And if you want to come over to Winning Women, or you want to put a post in here for any book recommendations, all I need to know is a little bit about you, and I can definitely tell you where you can find some information that would help you.
I just want to say to Fia, she said that she's not a visual learner, she's kinesthetic. So if you're kinesthetic, then you need to give yourself tasks to do. So as soon as you notice that you're experiencing something that you would like to use your personal power to change, give yourself tasks to do. So like I said, in terms of your needing help, affirmations will be awesome for you, because then the whole writing task will be, it's a kinesthetic thing. It's something that you're experiencing through touch and through making things physically happen. Yes, and you'll have to get a book.
Well, Fia, you're saying your mentor didn't work out, so get a call in with Sereena, or get a call in with myself, and see if there's any way we can help. You know, it is really important it's not necessarily that coaches don't work at times. Sometimes you haven't found the coach for you. And if I have a discovery call with anyone, we have to work for each other. And I would probably say Sereena's the same. There has to be a connection. I have to know I can help you, and you have to know that I'm the one that can help you. So maybe a conversation would be something you want to do, either with Sereena or myself, or with both of us. There's no problem with doing that. I do a free 45-minute discovery call with anybody that's interested, and Sereena, I'm sure, does something along the same lines.
Yeah, I do discovery sessions as well, sweetheart. So there's no problem. We can talk through what was it that you didn't actually like about your mentor. I mean, for example, everyone's a mirror and reflection of ourselves. So, let's look at what it was you didn't like about your mentor, so that we can dilute that, so that then you can find the right person for yourself. It may not even be me, but through that discussion, you can then work out, it would then allow you to put you in a position where you can feel what you need to feel in order to attract the right person for you. It's just like in terms of relationships, I'm working on, I'm helping women to attract the right partners into their life and harness feminine power in their relationships at the moment, whether it's to do with dating, whether it's to do with actually you're already in a relationship, you know, and maintaining that relationship. There's a lot of social norms that we need to rid ourselves of. And sometimes
Yeah.
we bring those issues that we have with relating to ourselves and relating to our partners and our children into our working, and it makes it hard
Right.
for us to be business women, you know, because first and foremost we want to present ourselves as business women, and then as parents and whatever else and blah blah blah, if we're going to be in a space of, you know, making the coins and the cash that we want to make.
That's right. That's totally right. And if you come to me, I get very clear about where it is you see yourself. And I think then we take that journey, one
Yeah.
with how you see yourself now and how to see yourself differently. And like Sereena said, about very clear steps as to what you need to do, how you need to do it. And it will take a level of commitment. I'm a very honest and transparent coach. So people say to me, oh, is it going to be really hard? I'm like, no, it's not going to be hard, but I'm going to allow you to get what you need out of this. And that's what you tell me. So, you know, feel free to give either one of us a message, because I think more conversations are better. I read lots of books so I can get the information I absolutely need. I speak to lots of people so I can get the information that I need. So do you know what? Don't limit yourself. We're both here on the call because we love to help women. We're both here on the call because we've got something that we're for you, give me a call. If Sereena's the one for you, give her a call. Talk to both of us if you feel, and we both may not be the right ones, but at least you can eliminate, and then, you know, keep
There's
looking.
power in that. I just want to say thank you everybody for coming on today, for watching today. And Amina, thank you so much. I'm so grateful for you being here with us today and sharing your pearls of wisdom.
Thank
Next
you for
week.
inviting me, and thank you for having me.
That's awesome. And you know, thank you just so much for sharing your story. I know it's you know, it's courageous and it can be difficult sometimes. And just thank you for being in the space of sharing, and may blessings continue to follow you, Ma. Next week we're going to talking about how to use crystals to harness feminine and masculine energy to help us within our lives and businesses. So yeah.
Wow.
Thank you. Bye for now.
Bye.